Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, everything went away. So,
Okay.
3, 2, 1. All right, you beautiful people. As promised, in the intro, the merch. I wore it. Here we go. Yeah, nice little sweatshirt. It's literally the comfiest sweatshirt I've ever worn. It was $25. I wore it in the last podcast, but I forgot to. I was so mesmerized by Brendan making me realize I knew nothing about sports that I forgot to mention it. Here's John's. I actually have right here. Got to send that out tomorrow. White. And if you guys notice, I'll just use his so I don't have to stand up every time. His ring is a baby blue, as is mine, instead of the mint neon green that our show is. And that's because, John, what was your beautiful idea?
To have the ring available in different colors?
Any color you want. Magenta, teal.
You can dream it up.
Turquoise. Or just blue, red, green. I don't give a damn. Any color you want, available. Any sweatshirt color you want, available. So I get these through I don't have her store plugged up. I'll put her Facebook page in the description of this YouTube video, in the description of the podcast. Her name's Skylar Fremont. She runs it with her sister Shay. She's really good family friends. Went to school with her. She gives them to people without really any markup. This sweatshirt was $25. If you want a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a long sleeve shirt, whatever it is, whatever colors, let us know. The only thing I'm going to charge you for other than the $25 is the shipping. So it's going to be $27, $28. We're not going to try to make a profit off these because if you're listening to this, you've been a loyal fan. You've been with us since the beginning probably. We're not trying to make any money off you. Just helping get the word out there, get you guys a nice shirt. I'm not kidding when I say it's so comfortable. It doesn't, the sleeves are the perfect length. It's the perfect length on my torso. It's soft on the inside. There's no annoying tag on my neck. Like I'm not wearing a shirt under this. And the inside material feels like wool. I would not be telling you guys this if I didn't believe it. I promise. I promise to you it is nice. Shout out to Skylar. I don't think we're going to get an overload of orders. If so, they might take a little bit longer because, again, she runs this out of her house kind of as like a side hobby. So remember that. But
well, they look great. That's for sure. So
thank you.
They look
great. Also, I have some of these stickers.
Ooh, nice.
These stickers are something that you guys might want to put on your Yeti or whatnot.
Back of your laptop.
Yeah. You guys want to see my laptop? Yep. Any office friends?
Ooh,
that's what she said. Yeah. If that's something you guys want, I know that was a long introduction to our merch, but yeah, we even have a little merch section on the www.atbsports.net. We only have a sweatshirt up there right now. Really, if you want to order something, just DM me on Twitter. My Twitter's in the description of the podcast and the YouTube down below. Message John, text us. It doesn't matter. We'll get it to you. It's not going to be Amazon 2-day shipping. I can promise you that, but we will get it to you. Yeah. John, now that that's all gone, I just kind of want to, how are you? I want to ask people, like, truly, how are people? It's a crazy time right now. Like, if you're listening and you're stir crazy, I was just telling John, if you're stuck at home or whatever, and you want to make a special appearance on a podcast, let me know. I'm a college student who's now doing schooling online with nothing to do. My job got canceled because I work for a university facility. Let us know. I mean, come on the show. Maybe cool. I'll even just have a show with just you. But John, how are you doing?
This is interesting. That's for sure, to say the least. Interesting time. I don't know. I'm someone who I try to balance life, listening to podcasts and watching SportsCenter in the morning before I go to work, and then Usually at lunch I try to like flip through CNN or something else just to try to catch up on some news and make sure that I'm not missing out on, whatever's been going on recently. But man, like, this is just, I don't know, like, it's crazy. Like, staying at home, I was just saying to you before we started recording that I haven't been within 6 feet of another human being since it was Sunday the 15th when I was at the grocery store. Right after the governor announced that they were going to close restaurants like at 9 p.m. and only do, takeout delivery in Ohio. So I was like, all right, well, everyone's going to probably flip out over that. So I'm going to go to the grocery store and grab a couple things real quick just to make sure, you know what I mean? And then, but also too, I didn't want to have to go in a week when, there could be more sick people. So I was like, yeah, I better just go. And of course I got to the store when, all the toilet paper was gone, all the paper products, all the napkins. Like, what are you people doing at home that you need the world's supply of napkins? Like, what, is this virus making people messier at home? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. A Clorox wipe, sure, I understand. Sanitizer, got it. Hand soap, not a problem. That makes sense. But like, all the paper, like, what are you doing with napkins? I don't know. I don't get it. It's really bizarre. So
I saw Brian Hartline tweet something that I thought of. That was the instant first thing I thought of, and I'm gonna tell you guys whether you think it's too much information. There it is. My girlfriend was like, "What did you just say?" When I heard that there might be lockdowns, which Governor DeWine has said they're not going to close grocery stores. We're not going to induct martial law. I think that's kind of a good idea to just get rid of it. But anyway, I said the first thing that came in my mind was, should we go get some rice and beans? Should we go stock up on, non-perishables? And then all of a sudden, I guess people are stabbing people in the eyeballs for bottled water and toilet paper. First of all, yeah, there was a Costco in Michigan, I believe. No, Georgia. Guy stabbed another guy with a wine bottle because he wanted the water bottles. First of all, stop drinking bottled water. It's bad. Secondly, my first thing was
stop stabbing people with blunt objects like wine bottles. Can we?
Well, I would actually prefer that over plastic water bottles.
Like he took the bottle and broke it and then stabbed them with the shards? Like that?
Right, yeah, right in the eyeball.
Like a bar fight. Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah, it was nasty. They posted it right on Twitter. My first thing was, if you're taking a poop, and you happen to be out of toilet paper, I would say 90% of you listening, there's obviously some that are half baths. If you have a toilet, there's most likely a shower in the same room. So worst comes to worst, you step in the damn shower, not go buy 20,000 rolls of toilet paper from the Sam's Club near you. I'm going to quote The Office right here.
Beautiful.
Dwight Schrute talks about how pampered our anuses are, the modern anus. And this is the exact thing it was needed for. Like, just stop. There's no point in it. But
the world according to Chandler. So where you just want a pine cone in everybody's bathrooms? Just be like, look, just use this and get over it, okay?
Use pine cone. Use pine cone.
Right.
You sent me that video, and it was like really opened my eyes to like how crazy this thing can spread. Do you want to So I think I understand it, but you're smarter than me, so I want to hear you explain it to me.
I don't know about that, but okay. So
you're wiser than me for sure, but
wiser, yeah. I'm very
smart.
Can you see all the wiseness right in here? Here's all the wiseness. There you go. So. And that's what I was going to say, like with, just the way that this whole thing has changed, like my life, and just speaking from a personal experience, like, I'm just I'm trying to be responsible and listen to what, doctors and scientists and, anybody that, healthcare workers, anybody that's on the front lines, like, what are they saying? And it's hard. Like, it's difficult to get, like,
they don't know anything.
Like, I don't want to say it's tough because you can hear a lot of conflicting information, and so it becomes difficult to like sift through. And I think like that's part of it. Like, and I don't want to get into a whole political, discussion, but I think one of the frustrating things about the last 3.5 years is that whatever side of this whole political spectrum you're on, whether you voted for Trump or you didn't or whatever, like if one side is constantly telling you one thing and the other side is constantly saying that's a lie, here's the truth, like you just get exhausted from it on either side. And, I know what I personally believe, and, and that it has nothing to do with anything. And I'm not about to, tell everybody, what they should do with their vote or anything. Like you can, you figure that on your own, and whatever it is that you think, you want to vote for, that's great. But it's frustrating when, you see like in any of those presidential like briefings, they're talking about, you have the president saying one thing, and then the health officials come on and say like the exact opposite thing. And it's like beyond being frustrated about like if someone's lying or not or telling the truth or whatever, like the worst part is that it's just the information isn't getting out. And, that's the hard part. Like that's the part that you're really trying to sell. Like if you're, in this pandemic, you're trying to get to, through to everybody saying, look, here's the information, here's what we know, here's what we don't know. And then this is how you have to react, because your life, it could be at risk, or someone else's life that you maybe take care of or are very close to or whatever, family, friends, all that kind of stuff. So anyways, when this was last week, and we'll link this video in the description below. This is a YouTube channel called It's Okay to Be Smart, and they post a lot of different kinds of videos, physics, astronomy, biology. It's not like, it's really interesting stuff, and I really encourage everybody to check it out because they do a great job. It's fun, it's entertaining, you learn something. It's pretty cool.
Especially if you have some, kids at home that can't go to school, keep those brains working. Actually,
yeah, that, and there's another one called Crash Course that I highly recommend because they cover like 20 different or 30 different subjects, and they do a really good job with that. But at any rate,
we use Crash Course in my high school classes. That's how old I am.
Okay.
That's how young I am.
It's awesome. It's really good.
Is John Green still on there, or did he leave?
So I think it depends on which subject they're teaching, because they're all hosted by a different person. Okay.
History was John Green for me.
I have not watched the history ones. I watched all the astronomy, and I just started watching the statistics one because I wanted to learn statistics a little bit better. And so.
All right, big man on campus.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're okay. That's good. So anyway, It's Okay to Be Smart. They made this video about the coronavirus and specifically how it spreads, and that's what I wanted to talk about real fast today. So the viruses like this, they spread exponentially. So they call it exponential growth in the video, and that exponential growth is really, really difficult for humans to understand. And basically, we look at something like this, the coronavirus, and it doesn't seem like there's anything wrong. It doesn't seem like there's a problem, and it feels like everyone's overreacting to nothing. And then, if you don't react to it, all of a sudden there's a huge problem, and now it seems like everything you're trying to do is too little too late. And you're wondering, why didn't we do things a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, whatever. So, and the example they used, this was really, really great and really eye-opening. So they used the example of lily pads in a pond. And so they basically said this, let's think of the coronavirus as lily pads. And this lily pad, it replicates itself once every day. All right. So on day 1, you have 1 lily pad. On day 2, you have 2. On day 3, you have 4. On day 4, you have 8, and so on and so forth. So every day the number doubles, right? So you're getting, twice as many every day that passes. Okay. They said in the video, they say it takes 60 days to fill this pond with lily pads. Okay. So the question they asked 2 questions. On what day will the pond be half filled? And the answer is 59, because on day 60 it's full. So the day before it's half full. Okay. Because they double every day. So then the question to ask you, Chandler, is if it takes 60 days to fill the pond and at day 59, it's at 50%. On what day do you think the pond is 1% filled? Just 1%. And
Day
pretend like you've never heard it before. That's a good answer.
I already forget, though.
So, okay, and I think your guess was, the first time I asked you or told you this, I think you said day 12. And
Yeah.
No joke, when I watched this part of the video 3 times, I rewound it 3 times to make sure I heard this correctly, because I was like, wait, this cannot be right. So the pond is 1% filled on day 54. So you go from 1% of lily pads or viruses on day 54, and then 6 days later, the pond is filled. But think about standing at the edge of that pond for 60 days. If you stand there for the first 54 days, there's no problem. None. You're looking around going, why are we doing anything? You guys, there are no lily pads in this pond. It's fine. And then 6 days later, the entire thing is filled. And it happens like that. And that's the problem with exponential growth, is that we don't, it happens so fast that we don't have a concept of it. It doesn't make any sense. And if you do the math, even just, out loud real fast, if it's 60 days, it's 100% filled, and on day 59, it's 50%. On day 58, it's 25%. On day 57, it's 12.5. And you keep going on. Suddenly you realize, oh yeah, it only takes like 5 days to go from, 2% to 100%. And, like that's the scary thing about exponential growth. And so all that example, and again, we'll link the description so you can watch the video if you want. It's obviously they do a better job of explaining it than I just did. But the reason that I just wanted to talk about it real fast is because if you're one of the people that is sitting around thinking this seems like an overreaction, that's why it's not. Okay, that's why none of this is an overreaction. Because if we don't overreact now, we will, when we're overrun with sick people and people can't get into hospitals and stuff, then you'll be thinking, why didn't we do something when we had the chance? But this is what's happening. We're doing something now when we have the chance. So I know different states have reacted differently, and I lived in California from 2012 to 2018, so I just got back to Ohio. I don't know much about Mike DeWine, our governor, but I tell you this, so far the response has been phenomenal and impressive, and just feels like he has people's health at the center of every decision that he's made so far. And Dr. Amy Acton, I believe, is the director of the Ohio Board of Health, so she's done a phenomenal job as well. But anyways, bottom line is, yes, it's exponential growth is super scary and hard to understand, but this is not an overreaction. And I just hope that everybody kind of uses that video to, if you didn't understand it, like I didn't, like I said, I had to stop the video. I rewound it 3 times because I was like, wait, did he say 1%? I'm like, no, it can't be 1% filled on day 54. And I rewound it 3 times because I had no idea. I just couldn't believe it. It's just, if that's, I don't know, it's unbelievable. So, but
yeah,
anyway, really cool video.
You do a great job of explaining something that's kind of hard to grasp. It definitely helped me grasp it more. And just because I don't want to pound this down people's throats, do want to say something happy. The Wood County Humane Society, which is in the city I live in, Bowling Green, just cleared out for the 2nd time this year already. Woo!
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
That's really cool.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. No, that's good. Look, if it gets, we're doing, you can't, I don't know. DeWine said, yesterday, you can't, essential businesses only should be open. You really shouldn't leave the house. It was kind of like a mini lockdown or some sort of, and it sucks. You're right. Like, it sucks. Like like I said, it's been 8 days since I was around another person. Like, I had to stop by my mom's, but I, had the door closed between us so I could talk to her for a second. Like, it's just stuff like that. And that sucks. I get it. Like, you miss being around people. You miss just normal life. And, but like, nothing is more important than all of our health. Nothing. And, there's economy issues and other struggles, and I totally get it. And hope to God everything returns back to normal and all that stuff. But like, If we're not around, then there's none of that stuff matters. So, just stay healthy, stay safe, so you can be there for the people that, need you most in your life, your friends, your family, all that kind of stuff. That's what matters. So, that's all.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just stay safe, people. And washing your hands is not enough. Half of it spreads just through air. But, John, you want to get on to the happy stuff?
Yeah, I really do.
It's
because
NFL free agency. NFL free agency came at a perfect time because it's heavy shit, and we need sports. We need sports in our lives. Luckily, I've been busting my butt trying to get this like NBA draft guide out. So I'm able to just go back and watch college basketball all the time with a purpose. So that's nice for me. But this NFL free agency came at a good time, and I think there is a lot to unpack here. I tried to get this. I'm trying to get OBS Studio to work. If you know what it is, great. If not, I'm not going to explain it because it's pissing me off anyway. To the point where you can watch these live, and also we can have, cut scenes with pictures and graphs we made up. So we're just gonna talk about our winners and losers, list them real quick. And to be honest, if we were just to pick 4 winners, John's winners were who my winners were. But I wanted to make it more broad, so I picked 4 other winners who, I didn't stretch. If I couldn't have found 4 people I truly thought won free agency, no really bad deals. There's one team in here that made a bad deal in my opinion, but there are other deals, and the way their team's structured is good enough that I deemed them a winner. But my winners are the New Orleans Saints, the Miami Dolphins, the LA Chargers, who I think have made the most impact in my opinion, which blows John's mind, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I also think made huge leaps, which it also blew John's mind. John, you want to list your winners real quick?
Yeah. So I had the Browns, I had the Cardinals, I had the Ravens, and I had the Colts. And
those are my original 4 winners.
Verbatim, those were your original 4?
Those were my original 4.
Wow. Okay, that's kind of cool.
Swear to God.
I'm glad we didn't know that when we were sending each other the list then.
And our losers would have been different though, the top 4.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Go on.
I just wanted to say that we cut it at 4. If we did like a 3-hour podcast, there would be a lot of deals to talk about. Even if you wouldn't consider, a team, you wouldn't put them in the winners column. I think there are a lot of really good deals, that you could bring up. Like Buffalo is an honorable mention for winners. Like there are definitely other teams that belong in that. You did a good job in free agency. We just broke it down to 4. It happened, it was an arbitrary number, so we just cut it off somewhere. But more teams belong in that category for sure. So
absolutely. And my 4 losers. I'm gonna list John's 4 losers first because other than the Falcons, so John had the Falcons, the Texans, the Titans, and the Bears. Other than the Falcons, those were my 3 losers. However, my 4th loser in there was going to be the Vikings. However, since he had those 4, because I don't believe the Falcons were losers, which we'll talk about in a bit. I have the Bengals. I truly believe that. The Vikings, the Broncos, and the Cowboys. And the Cowboys, it's not for the reasons you're thinking. We'll talk about that in the show. Do you want to talk about winners first? Or maybe we could go winner, loser, winner. Let's talk about the winners first.
Let's talk about the winners first.
All right. Can we talk about the Saints first? Because I knew that's someone that you didn't think was one of your, obviously, top 4. All of mine weren't in your top 4. But
no, I know, and I'm curious. I can't wait to hear why you think that they are. This is exciting.
So I want to. So the Saints, for some reason, don't have a salary cap. I guess Roger Goodell has deemed them. You guys don't have a real salary cap. Just kind of play Madden with this. I don't know where they keep getting all this money. However, this is what we knew about the Saints coming into free agency. They had one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history that's still playing at a top 5 level. Would you agree?
One of the best quarterbacks in NFL history that's still playing at a top 5 level.
Yes.
Close enough. Okay. Top 6, 7
top
maybe.
7.
But yeah,
close
enough. Close enough. Yep.
The best receiver in football the last 2 years. Whether you want to say, he can't do the things Julio can downfield, he can't run routes like Keenan Allen can. Michael Thomas
I don't agree
has
with
been the best.
Yeah.
Do you agree or not?
No, I think you're right. I think you're fine in saying that he's the best receiver. I don't agree that if you can nitpick anyone's game. No, you know what I mean? Like there's always something, but like
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Yes, I totally agree. So
yeah, and especially with the lack of help he's had, which is part of the reason they're winners in my eyes. They have one of the best running backs in the league. They have one of the best defenses in the league, and they were missing one essential position, and they went and got two really good ones. They got two really good ones for free agency.
Okay.
And they have a offensive line that doesn't hinder them. It's not the best in the league. It's not the worst. And then they have a utility position who cannot remember his Twitter name, but yesterday tweeted out that Lamar Jackson is a generic version of Taysom Hill, basically, which just is laughable. Lamar Jackson is one of the best players in football. Stop. All right. So we knew all that about the Saints. We also knew they didn't have a second receiver. They haven't had a second receiver since Michael Thomas has been prominent. Like Ted Ginn, no. Look, Treadwell, no. Willie Snead, ha.
Well, they just got Treadwell, right?
What?
They just added Treadwell, right? Isn't that?
Yeah.
Is that one of the deals? Okay, yeah. Traquan Smith is the.
No. Treadwell. I believe Treadwell was drafted by the Saints. I think.
No, the Vikings drafted him.
Are you sure?
100% positive.
Okay. Anyway.
100%.
So Treadwell's not good either. That's my point.
Okay.
I lost where I was. Okay, yeah.
No,
they went and got Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders has been a top 20 receiver every single year since he's been in the league.
Okay.
He's a veteran presence. So just by PFF standards, has literally never graded even average. He's always been above average. He's a great receiver and will just open up so many things for Michael Thomas, Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, and Jared Cook, who has just been forgotten, lost in the sauce because he's so hit or miss. So then they do that. And then I'm going to stick on the offensive side of the ball. They made one of the worst signings in free agency this year, signing Andres Pete to that nasty $57.5 million deal.
Yeah.
$33 million guaranteed. He's terrible. He's actually really bad. So for those of you that a lot of people pick on the Browns last year, so I'll use them. Browns had a bad offensive line. I would say Chris Hubbard and Greg Robinson are both better than Andres Pete. That's my hot take. Greg Robinson, you at least get the athleticism. Chris Hubbard, you get the, he's not good, but Chris Hubbard's far from the worst tackle in the league.
He's just a backup. That's all. There's nothing wrong with that. He's a good swing guy. He just needs to be a backup. He can't be a starter. Yeah.
So you didn't make that terrible signing. Absolutely terrible. But, the more I thought about it, the more I thought Drew Brees has 2 years left at this level, maybe. Whatever. I don't really care what they're doing after this. Just win now. Forget about the future. It's going to be awful anyway. And then you place a first-round tender on Taysom Hill, which means they're going to keep Taysom Hill. If you give up, Taysom Hill is not worth that.
I would say so.
But I think it was kind of smart by the Saints because even if he only wins you 2 games on the year, it was worth paying him whatever the first-round tender is. It's not a crazy amount of money. So
I don't know who tweeted this, but today somebody said that Mohamed Sanu has more career passing yards than Taysom Hill, just so we're all on the same page. So
yeah, Taysom Hill's not going to win you the game passing the ball, but what he can do as a special teams guy is worth it. So they do that. And then you go to the defensive side of the ball, and you have, Demario Davis, absolutely great linebacker. Cam Jordan, absolutely great defensive end. Oh, and you have Marshawn Lattimore, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. You're just kind of missing that help in the secondary. Obviously, pass pressure on the quarterback is important, but Cam Jordan alone, I don't think Cam Jordan gets enough love. Cam Jordan alone almost produces enough pressure that you can have whoever it is on the opposite end, and they'll feast. And I cannot think of his name right now. The guy out of UTSA, he's there, super fast defensive end, going into his third year.
Yeah. They traded up. They gave up a first-round pick to get him.
Absolutely terrible trade, but he's a good player. He's a good enough player that he can still start there and be fine.
Go ahead.
So you have these players. Demario Davis, top linebacker in the league. Cam Jordan, one of the best defensive ends. Marshawn Lattimore, one of the best cornerbacks. Then
Marcus
you go
Davenport.
and get Davenport.
Yep.
You got Davenport on the other end doing enough. And they signed Onyemata from wherever, defensive tackle. That's a pretty bad deal. 3 years, $27 million. I don't like that. But anyway, like I said, they don't have a cap space. The big signings on the defensive end, Malcolm Jenkins and DJ Swearinger to be your safety duo. First of all, we all know Swearinger is more of the box guy. He's there to run, defend, and be able to blitz the passer. Which, I might add, you're going to be playing Teddy Bridgewater and Tom Brady. And why am I blanking on the fourth team in that division right now? Matt Ryan. Oh, my God. The most mobile group of three quarterbacks, they're going to play 6 times a year. So that does make a difference. I know that sounds stupid, but
there won't be a rushing yard. There won't be a quarterback rushing yard besides Taysom Hill in that whole division. Not one all year.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater. You take a look at Teddy Bridgewater, and people want to think he's athletic, like this super mobile quarterback. He's not.
No.
He's not. So that being able to blitz the passer like that is going to help DJ Swearinger. He's a good pass rusher, a blitzer, I should say, not a pass rusher, and he's great in run. He's great in playing run defense. And then Malcolm Jenkins has just been one of the most solid, better safeties in the league for, since he's been out of there. He's played, I honestly don't know off the top of my head. I'm assuming he played with the Saints in that Super Bowl. No, that might have been before him. Anyway, he played with the Eagles in a Super Bowl. He's been on winning teams his whole life. Great leader. I absolutely love these signings. I want you to talk about the Saints or whatever I said, because we need to move on from that, because, we spent a long time in the intro and I'm drowning on about these Saints, and there's a lot more better topics out there. But John, what do you think?
No, I didn't have the Saints as winners, but when you put it like this, I guess the one thing I would add to it, and first of all, I think your description of why they're winners is good. I think you make some pretty good arguments for that. Barring the Andres Pete signing, which was pretty awful, obviously, but
really bad. Outside of Melvin Gordon, the worst.
As long as Emmanuel Sanders is, if that Achilles is going to hold up and there's no issues, and obviously he came back a lot faster than everybody thought he would. So if that's going to continue, then sure, why not? I mean, and you're right. That's one thing that really New Orleans has never had. Like, there's just never been a second receiver. Even when Marcus Colston was like the guy, there was a bunch of dudes that you're just like, it was the one fantasy like team where you're like, okay, Breeze is awesome, and Colston, I can't get him because he went too early. I'll just draft like somebody from the Saints, and it never, and none of those guys were ever any good ever. Like, none of them had over like 50 catch seasons. You're just like, damn it, why can't anybody else catch a pass in New Orleans? But so yeah, Sanders should help big time. And then the one thing I would add is, you talk about addition by subtraction. Getting rid of Eli Apple is great job because you don't need that guy. I mean, he's been awful his whole career. So I think he was like the 10th overall pick. I think that's where the Giants took him. That's unbelievable. So
not a good player.
And Laquan Treadwell was the 23rd pick overall by the Vikings in 2016. So,
okay.
But he was coming off that.
Did he just go to the Saints?
Yes, correct. This is the beginning of the 2019 season, the Vikings cut Treadwell, but then they re-signed him a short number of weeks after. It wasn't very long that he was without a job. So because I don't know if it was Diggs or Thielen injury stuff or something different, but they just needed a third body, and obviously, and then he ended up playing a decent amount last year. So, but yeah, that's weird too. He's one of the guys that he just had that weird broken ankle injury, when he was at Ole Miss, like that just was horrible and robbed him of maybe, I don't know, his speed or whatever. Like he famously didn't do well I don't know if he had combine or pro day, but either way, it wasn't like he ran like a slower 40 and stuff. And you're like, oh, maybe maybe that broken ankle really messed him up. But man, he looked so good in college. It's a weird thing, but I don't know. Anyways, we'll see. But yeah. So you want to move on to one of my winners?
Yeah, let me tell you why you're wrong, even though I picked the same 4.
Love it. Well, we don't spend a ton of time on this.
Let me crack the knuckles.
We did talk about him last week. So with Brendan Leister. One of the teams I picked the Browns. Hold on. Let me rep my fandom. We good? Okay, good. All right.
We're definitely not Browns fans here.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is objective. Really,
though, this is an objective. They're not getting enough. They're not getting talked about enough because every media outlet's scared to talk about them again. But go on.
This is the NFL boomerang that happens every year. Every year you pick a team that everyone thinks is going to go to the Super Bowl, and then they don't. And then the next year, whether that team's going to be better or worse, you don't talk about them because you did it all last season. So you can't do it twice in a row, that's for sure. This is like the NFL's version, or like ESPN's version of Hard Knocks. Like, you're never going to have 2 teams on 2 years in a row. So you just kind of like skip to the next, okay, well, who should we talk about this year? Like, let's pick a team this year. All right. So, yeah, last year was the Browns, and this year it's not, and that's fine because who cares about any of that kind of stuff? So it doesn't. And to be really, really honest here, like anybody that's ever known me knows when the Browns do something stupid, I will absolutely bury them. Like I am not Homer guy. If Myles Garrett doesn't get his head sewed on straight and doesn't like stop running up the field just to run up the field all day, like instead of breaking it down and making sure that the quarterback doesn't just slide right underneath because he's looping around every damn person to get a sack. That's great, Myles. Like your 13 sacks mean nothing if every other time they're sliding up underneath you and throwing touchdowns.
You stop the bad. I'm kidding. You're right.
No, I won't. I will not. I won't.
You're right.
No, but anyways, like I'm just saying, I would be as objective as humanly possible about the Browns. So especially about the Browns.
What was your favorite signing? Favorite to least signings off the top of your head?
The favorite Browns signing was Austin Hooper for sure, because that's just that's an important weapon in Stefanski's offense. And again, the money, everywhere I look, I see, but they paid him $11 million. I don't think you're understanding, like if this tight end market gets reset to where it should be, $11 million is a steal. And second of all, like we said last week, when all the receivers when Hopkins redoes his deal with Arizona, it's going to be around $20 million. You're going to get similar-ish production, and not the same, but from a pass-catching standpoint, like Hooper's going to deliver similar kind of number. He had 97 catches in 13 games last year. Mm-hmm. Like he would have had 110 easy.
Yeah, so, his biggest flaw is obviously separating and winning one-on-one matchups, but he's not going to have to win one-on-one matchups.
Exactly, because whose offense is he in?
And if they are trying to put him in one-on-one matchups and he can't win, I hate to break this to some Browns fans who some reason want to hate on him, including my girlfriend who's out there and probably listening. David Njoku's a very talented tight end, one of the most athletic tight ends the NFL's ever seen. So he'll win those one-on-one matchups. That's what he does great. Yeah, the Austin Hooper signing was fantastic. And like you said, the market's going to reset. He's going to be the 5th or 6th highest paid tight end by the end of 2 years from now. Right. And with the cap increase and all that, I'm just going to go ahead and jump in if that's okay. Yeah. My favorite signing was two of them. Sendejo, the 1-year deal for $2.25 million. Part of me hates that because it's 1-year deal. We're not going to get him back next year for that price. He's one of the best covered cover safeties in all of the NFL last year. He has never had a awful year covering pass coverage, which we talked about with Brendan Leister on the last show. Coverage fluctuates. There's an argument right now between, analysts, is pass coverage or pass rushing more valuable? And it's like, it's a never ending argument because pass coverage is, on numbers, it's way more valuable. But when you're paying people, Myles Garrett's going to get 10 plus sacks for the next 10 years. But by God, Denzel Ward could let up 12 touchdowns next year. You never know. Like, that's just, it's something that you can't tell what's going to happen. Chris Harris Jr. had a bad year last year, which we'll get to in my next winners, why that happened anyway. But so that's one of my favorite signings. They lacked that last year, and I think he'll help Redwine keep improving. Redwine showed great coverage ability in spurts last year. That can help him. And then Case Keenum was my second favorite signing. $6 million a year for an insurance policy at quarterback is never bad. So with Case Keenum, even if he never starts a game in his Browns career, which I find doubtful, whether it's Baker's banged up. 3 years, I find it hard to believe he'll never start. But anyway, he'll definitely be worth it. The veteran presence in the locker room, helping Baker just approach game day, what he's got to do, cannot be understated. And then also, just helping Baker have a veteran presence of eyes. Drew Stanton is a great leader, but the last time he played efficient football was I don't know when. And Case Keenum's played pretty high-level football the last 3 years. Not elite, but good enough to play in the NFL, by damn it. So, I like those signings. John, I have to go leave the room real quick. Talk about your other signings you like.
Okay, sure. So, yeah, I mean, with the Browns, the one thing I wanted to bring up for sure is just the money, the contracts for all these deals, like a lot of one-year deals, things like that. Chandler just mentioned Sendejo, Carl Joseph. Like, I just think that they approach this from an excellent standpoint where, they're not you're landing positions of need, like Conklin, obviously, Hooper, needed a tight end, especially if, like Chandler said, Njoku is super talented, but it doesn't mean that he's ever going to figure out how to stop dropping the ball or, anything like that. So he might have all the athleticism in the world, but if the guy just can't play football, that's obviously a problem. So, but the bottom line is that the money with all of these deals, the length of time, the contracts, the money, that's the part that I think they're really knocking out of the park, and that's the reason why I put them in the winners list. The names that you're signing obviously matters, and Conklin, things like that, but like not overpaying for Conklin, and technically you overpaid for Hooper because he's the top tight end in the NFL, and we know he's not the best tight end in the NFL. I'm just saying from a strictly technical standpoint, it is true to say you overpaid for him because technically that is correct, sure. But $11 million for a guy that can, deliver that kind of production, it's just, that's stupid. That's stupid value. It's so good. So from basically every deal that they made has just, one after the other has been impressive from a, contract standpoint. The money they're giving out, it's been great. So that's why I put the Browns on my winners list.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And John, I'm going to ask you this just so you guys know that we don't script this. We're running out like 45 minutes right now for time, and we do have like 3 or 4 listener questions. So do you just want to talk about 2 winners, 2 losers from each of our teams?
And then like the other. I can be really quick. I promise.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Well, I'm only going to talk.
Wait, I'm going to do my next winner. You ready?
Yeah.
Here, my next winner is Arizona. DeAndre Hopkins. So,
I love it.
Yeah. Somebody.
And dumping David Johnson.
Bill O'Brien raised his hand in the back of the room and said, I have this really, really great prime asset to get rid of. I don't want anything major in return. If you have like kind of a has-been washed up running back, I'm collecting them. I don't know if I told you, I'm collecting them. I have 2. I'd like to get a third one now. What do you got for me? And Arizona, I don't know if they were just fastest to the phone. I don't know if other teams just didn't realize. Like, I don't even know how that happened. Like, there needs to be a 30 for 30 on this deal, how this deal specifically came about.
Can you imagine?
No,
if the Saints said, I will give you the backup running back who I can't even think of who. Oh, I'll give you Latavius Murray.
Yeah, I was going to say the Vikings, dude. Latavius Murray.
I'll give you a 3rd-round pick and then whatever else you want. And he would have been, nope, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But, like, can you call up Sean Payton and be like, hey, man, first of all, sorry about the coronavirus. I'm glad hopefully you're getting better. That's awesome. But can we get Michael Thomas from you? Wait. Before you hang up the phone, hold on. I got a 2nd-round pick to offer and an old shitty running back. What do you think, huh, Sean? Huh? Come on, let's make a deal, buddy.
Yeah, I'll take it. Like, deal or no deal. Let's make a deal. Sorry. If you don't watch The Office, you probably think I'm just a psycho asshole, but it's a Michael Scott quote. But
Arizona went from, in 2018, Arizona was the worst offense in the NFL. They had a rookie Kyler Murray, a rookie head coach, and they significantly improved their offense. And now you're adding DeAndre Hopkins to that. Good for them. Congrats. That's
why my hot take.
Mm-hmm. Please.
There's a good chance, in my opinion, if the Cardinals can knock out this draft, maybe make 1 or 2 defensive moves in free agency still, they can win the NFC West. We'll talk about this on a later pod. The 49ers are a perfect candidate for a disappointing ass season. Chicago Bears, may you please come to the table. That's what they are. They are the 2018 Chicago Bears. In a nutshell, they have a better quarterback. But
much better quarterback.
And they have a better coach. And the Seahawks, who anyone that listens to this show knows that I am probably the biggest Russell Wilson fan in the history of non-Seahawks fans. But for some reason, they have, if it weren't for Bill Bryan, maybe the worst coach in the NFL, simply because he refuses to make it a pass-first offense. Beyond my whatever. And then the Rams are a shithole. They put a lot of money into a team they thought they could win an NFL Super Bowl with. But if you listen to any professional athlete talk, getting to the biggest stage and losing and even winning sometimes is so mind-consuming that if you don't have veterans, if you are not just mentally tough enough, it's hard to get back there. Jared Goff's young. Todd Gurley was young. Defense was young. So I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, Cardinals could possibly win the NFC West. It is not out of the realm of possibility by any means.
No.
They have the best wide receiver group in that division. It's not even close.
It's going to come down to quarterback play. If Murray can, take another step forward, then they have a chance. If he plays similar to what he did, or he just doesn't progress or kind of regresses, obviously they're in a lot of trouble. So, yep.
I'll say this. If 28-year-old Jimmy G doesn't get any better, which, John, has he really improved that much since he's gotten to the league? I would say no. He's still just an average quarterback. They will not. The 49ers will bounce back if Jimmy G is not a good quarterback next year. Defenses do not replicate the way the 49ers did last year.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
And historically speaking, losing the Super Bowl is not good for your playoff chances the following year. So
it is not, and losing your best receiver, and best defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. But you do get a 13 overall pick. That's huge. I'm going to talk about 2 other winners in 5 seconds. Dolphins filled in a lot of starting positions with good veteran players. Byron Jones, Kyle Van Noy, huge signings in my opinion. Eric Flowers, bad. Excuse me. Buccaneers, short-term winners. You get Tom Brady. That's it. That wins you the free agency. Tom Brady is a way above average quarterback, still a top 10 quarterback. Hasn't had a receiver duo like this since Randy Moss was in. Randy Moss, and or you could even argue Gronk and Hernandez on the same team that as just as lethal. But he hasn't seen an offense like this in years. And then the Chargers. This is the team I want to talk about. I'm going to give myself about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to let John talk because I actually really like his Colts and Ravens thing. The Chargers. They add a show favorite, Chris Harris Jr., best slot cornerback in the NFL, even
Ever.
statistically in NFL history.
Yeah.
Played outside last year, partially because he wanted out of there, partially because he had to play out there. Played bad. He's
Yeah.
not bad. The deal he was signed, I think it's 2 year, $20 million, right?
Don't have it on hand, but yeah, I think it's something like
Oh,
that.
sorry. I think I have it actually. I don't know why I said like, John, why don't you come on? You ever watch the Joe Rogan podcast? Come on, Jamie, pull it up. Okay, so he agreed to a 2-year, $17 million contract with max value of 20 with incentives. Only $7.5 million guaranteed. I'm assuming other teams offered that or more, and he chose the Chargers because any team that didn't offer that should fire their GM immediately. We'll stick on the defensive side. You had Linval Joseph, just an absolute monster of a player. We all know him for his speed at his size that he reached on that fumble recovery two plus years ago. But last year, he had a down year. Most of the Minnesota Vikings did. You know, he is an above average run defender, pretty below average pass rusher, about average for a defensive tackle. Good signing. You didn't break the bank with him. 2 years, $17 million, worth up to 19. That's not bad for a proven defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive side of the ball, though, is what really intrigues me. Brian Bulaga, really team-friendly deal, 10-year, $30 million. I mean, Brian Bulaga is just a top tackle in the league. Will not blow you away, but he will not let you get hurt. Austin Eckler, this is the first team-friendly running back signing I've ever seen of a player that's good. Austin Eckler,
that deal. It was awesome.
When I watch Austin Eckler play, I think he's better than Melvin Gordon. He's able to be elusive, break out of tackles. He's great in the passing game, which Melvin Gordon's not. And Austin can run between the tackles, which is just it's an odd skill set that not a lot of players have.
Yeah.
4 years, $24 million, only $15 million guaranteed.
Yep.
So basically, I mean, but just in layman's terms, after 2 years, you can basically get out of that, and the dead cap would be pretty insignificant. So you're stuck with.
Do you remember what they were going to offer Melvin Gordon last summer when he was going to hold out? Do you remember what the offer was?
Am I crazy, or was it 4-year, $40 million?
So I can't remember the years, but it was going to be $8 million a year. And then he says, no, I want more. And they say, fine, go spit. And then they just play the season with Eckler, and he's fantastic. Gordon comes back, obviously plays. And now you sign Eckler for $2 million less than you were going to offer Gordon. And you're going to get similar, if not, the exact same production. It's incredible. It's a great deal.
This is what I don't think the running back market's going to reset anytime soon. They're going to keep overpaying. But for Browns fans listening, I know we have a lot of Browns fans. If you're not, I'm sorry. Just bear with me for 1 second. If the Browns can get Nick Chubb on a $9 million or less a year deal, I'm all for it. If not, you just can't pay running backs. This is a good deal. Running backs are not essential to winning a championship. Then the last two on offense, Hunter Henry, franchise tagging him. That's a good move. Honestly, this would have been risky, but as a GM, I would have almost tried to sign him. Obviously, he wouldn't have to accept it. Try to sign him, though, because if Hunter Henry could stay healthy for a season, by God, he might be the highest paid tight end in the year next year. Tight end in the NFL next year. I'm not sure if Kittle's contract will be up, or Kelsey for that matter, or Ertz. But Hunter Henry's super talented. He just cannot stay healthy. So franchise tagging him, no big deal. Trey Turner, offensive guard from the Panthers.
Yep.
I thought that was overhyped. He's not very good. He's just really not that good. He won a Pro Bowl, so after you win a Pro Bowl, everyone says Pro Bowl. Pro Bowls mean absolutely nothing. Let me tell you, Pro Bowls mean nothing. It just means that your fan base is good at voting. That's really all it means. Give me all pros all day. Give me the fact that what the hell is his name? The left tackle from Green Bay. Oh,
not
the Packers.
Bulaga. You're talking about somebody else?
Oh, no. Bulaga is the right tackle. David Bakhtiari.
Oh, Bakhtiari. Sorry. Good call.
Bakhtiari has been the best tackle in football for 3 years now, and he has not gone to the Pro Bowl all 3 years. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, that's the epitome of, oh, okay, so he won a Pro Bowl, but is he all pro? Because Bakhtiari's been all pro left tackle those 3 years. But anyway, So Trey Turner got blown out of proportion. Chargers are still my winners because they now have the best defensive back unit in all of football. If they all play to the level that they have before, it'll be the best defensive back unit in the history of football. I'm making that bold statement. Obviously, like I just said, coverage, it fluctuates so much every year. We don't know if Derwin James will ever be as good as he was his rookie year. We don't know if King will ever step back up to the level of play he once was. We don't know if Chris Harris Jr., for God's sake, will go just transition right into the inside again. But they have good pass rushers. There's a very good chance that this could happen. Pass rushers will help them in coverage. But yeah, I really like what the Chargers did. You got to go after Cam Newton. You have to go after Cam Newton if you're the Chargers.
Yeah, there you go. I was just going to ask, who's going to throw the ball in LA there? Yeah, you got to go after Cam Newton.
Yeah, so I think this was a listener question, wasn't it? By Norman, maybe? No. Somebody asked where we think Cam Newton will be throwing the ball, right?
I was looking through the question. I don't remember that one. But I might have missed one.
It was on my Facebook. I believe.
Oh, cool.
Where do you think Cam Newton will go next? Will he be an asset anywhere or bust? Taryn Contreras, thank you for the question. Here is my answer. I think Cam Newton goes to the Chargers. I think he's an asset. If you're comparing him to his 2015, I believe that's the year, MVP season, I would say he's going to be a bust. I don't think he'll ever be that level again. But if you talk about can he help this team win in the now, I think he can. When was the last time Cam Newton had weapons like this while he was healthy? Obviously, he's had CMC in his backfield with him, but he has not been consistently healthy. If you give Cam Newton a healthy Hunter Henry, a healthy Keenan Allen, a healthy Mike Williams, a healthy Austin Eckler, it's a filthy team. Now, if you go Cam Newton, you have to go tackle at 6 or 7, wherever they're drafting. I believe you got to go tackle there. A lot of people are going to say the sexy pick, Isaiah Simmons. I would almost always say yes, but the Chargers have just not had their left tackle, and for what seems like ever. Get Cam Newton protected. If you got the right side, you've got Trey Turner in there now. The most important thing, if you have Cam Newton, is keeping him healthy. Go get that tackle. But I think he will be an asset, and I think he's going to go to the Chargers because I think they're going to attempt to get him pretty heavily.
Well, I was just looking up, see what their cap situation was after a couple of these free agency deals, see if they had the room to add him in. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's interesting. Yeah, but I mean, that would be because if that doesn't happen, if you're, let's say you're the Chargers and you're like, we don't like Cam Newton or whatever. We're just gonna, we're gonna ignore that. Then you got to think that I was gonna say they got to take a quarterback, right, at 6. Like, when are you gonna be up that high again? Especially with this roster. This roster is not bad, like they're good. So, like, if they can, figure out an offensive line a little bit, obviously that's been an issue the last couple of years.
So whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
I heard a little bit of an echo, but it went away.
Okay, good.
Okay, perfect. So I'm looking at the Chargers cap space right now, and what it seems to me, the way they set up Linval, Joseph, Austin Eckler, and Chris Harris base salaries, well, all their base salaries are below or $2 million or lower. Chris Harris gets $2 million, Linval Joseph $1.5 million, Austin Eckler $1.5 million, even Bulaga $1.5 million. They have a pretty heavy signing bonus, and then Austin Eckler gets a roster bonus. But so I think they might have done that to set up to be able to go spend a quarterback this year, and then restructure their contracts like the Saints have been doing. But they do have the cap space to get it. Right now, they have $22 million in cap space estimated. Okay. You can get Cam Newton for, I would say, $22 or cheaper $1 million a year, especially if you do heavy guarantee, maybe even a 1-year deal. I don't know. I think that's where he's going to go, though. John, we've spent too much time on the Chargers, so sadly, I'm not going to ask you what you think of my thing, so I'm just going to be right about everything. Because I want to talk about the Colts and the Ravens. I want to hear what you have to say because I really like both of what they did in free agency.
So, with the Ravens, And again, this is another trade. Like we maybe they can do the thing where like they you see the interviews with like the witness and it's like completely like blacked out, right? Like you can't see my face, and then they have the voice, right? The deep voice, like it's like, well, we thought that we could trade Calais Campbell for a 5th round pick. We thought that would be really good value. And like we need to be on the inside of these trades to find out like how in the hell, like who Calais Campbell. So they're just like called him up and said like, hey, we're gonna give you a 5th round pick for Campbell. What do you think? And everyone in the room at Jacksonville was like, oh, a 5th? Yes. Oh my God, this super productive, one of a kind. Like I know he's over 30, but like he's been phenomenal. And they just got a fifth. They just flipped the 5th round pick to Jacksonville, and Campbell is like, oh, great, I'll go play for a winner. I can't wait. This is phenomenal. You guys have done everything you can to destroy this defense in Jacksonville. Meanwhile, I'm just going to go over to Baltimore and be on a really good team. This is insane.
If you can list me, anyone listening, if you can list me 10 defensive ends better than him, I'll listen. But there's probably not. He's outrageous, and it's. I'm pretty sure I said this on the last podcast. I don't know. I've probably talked about it before. I know I've talked about it with John. The Ravens had one flaw last year. They had one thing wrong with their roster. And that was being able to get to the passer without a blitz. They just went and got Calais Campbell and Michael Brockers and brought back Matt Judon, if you look closely, most of his stats were, he had, his stats were inflated. Well, they franchise tagged him. That's here or there. He's going to be able to do the same damn thing with Calais Campbell and Michael Brockers there. Now,
but here's the thing. I bet you the reason why I like them a lot is because they tagged Judon. I think they're going to trade him, and I'll bet you they end up getting a lot more for him than he's really worth, because I think that was a really smart idea to tag him and then see if you can move him at some point. I would not be shocked if that happens. And if it does, that's a really, really good move, because he's a fine player, but he's not going to be whatever, he's not worth whatever they're going to get for him. So they're going to get
I keep coming back to the Ravens do almost everything right. The Ravens almost do nothing wrong as an organization. It's annoyingly painful.
Yeah.
But when they let Zadarius Smith go, I was like, why? He was one of your best defenders. And then you keep Matt Judon, which, whatever, you had him under contract. But if this team had Zadarius Smith, Michael Brockers, Brandon Williams, and Calais Campbell coming at you as your front four, I wouldn't play Baker against them. Sit Baker both games. You're not winning. Right. Sit him. If you're the Steelers, sit Ben Roethlisberger. He can't take that hit. If you're Joe Burrow, just go back to Louisiana. You're on vacation for the week. Like, no.
Yep.
So, the Ravens did freaking fantastic, of course, obviously. Now we have to deal with them again. They're not going to bounce back. They're not going to have a step back. Their defense was pretty good. It's going to be better this year. Their offense is going to be better. Our only chance, the only hope you have is that you get a couple lucky breaks early against them. If you go up, your chances of winning are going to go up tremendously. The problem is they strike first like a snake half the time. I love that one. And then the Colts, I feel like that's kind of the same as my Saints reasoning. It's a lot of short-term value. But what was your reasoning for the Colts being the winners?
It's really just Rivers, to be honest with you. Like, I just think that if you're the Colts, if you're looking at your roster, you really are just a quarterback away. Like, if they can stay healthy on defense, then which has been an issue for them, obviously, and they have some really nice players on defense as well. But if they can put it all together 1 year, and you have that offensive line, which is a fantastic offensive line, and Rivers is a very good quarterback when he is not pressured. When he is, and he's a gunslinger guy. Like, when he's getting pressured, he's still going to try to, zip it in there and try to, just make a play happen, which that's how, he throws a lot of interceptions too. But, I mean, he's been a very good quarterback his entire career. And now he has an offensive line. I just think that if you were the Colts heading into this year with that roster construction, I think this is a good time to sign a guy like that for 1 year. It's $25 million guaranteed. and just go for it. Take a shot. Like, Bill O'Brien's trading away all the good things that Houston never had, so you don't have to worry about them most likely, except, somehow Deshaun Watson keeps getting that team to the playoffs, which at this point, he's probably eligible for sainthood, at least in Houston, if not around the world.
He's already a Hall of Fame quarterback because of what he's done.
Jacksonville, at some point, if there's ever, Jacksonville makes me feel good about being a Browns fan. I'm just going to put that, okay? Whenever I think how sad I am as a Browns fan, I think about Jacksonville, and it makes me somewhat happy. At least my soul is less crushed because of their simple existence. That's a good thing. So, and then Tennessee is on my list of losers, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I just think you really have a shot. And if it's only even just for this year, you can still draft Jordan Love if you want to. You can still take Herbert if he happens to fall or whatever. If you want to take a quarterback for the future, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a really smart move, and you probably should. But you got a really good team right now. Go for it. And they did, and I like that. I think that's a smart move. So, yep. So those were the winners.
Yeah, So you look at their roster, and the only thing that they need is a second linebacker. Jabal Sheard, their other defensive tackle beside DeForest Buckner now, had a bad year, but being between Buckner and Houston most of the time. So. Oh, is he?
Yeah, Sheard left the team, so I can't remember if he got signed somewhere else. But
PFF, update your damn rosters. Anyway, yeah, you give Rivers the best offensive line he's ever played behind. Yeah, you obviously would like to see a tight end somehow, which I don't know how you're going to get that now. So that's pretty much off the table. But they need a second wide receiver. You need a second wide receiver. This is the year, whether you have to go trade for him, if you have to draft. This is the deep wide receiver class.
Yeah,
you're going to have to hit on one. This team has enough holes where you can't just take a bunch of receivers and hope you hit on one. You're going to you're going to want another cornerback. Rocky Sin and Marvin Tell were very good last year for rookies. But your two starting outside cornerbacks being rookies is a scary thing. Now that they don't have to go up against Hopkins twice, and they have Jacksonville to play twice, it's not as terrifying. And signing Tannehill back, which, but they don't have a lot of holes. But they have a couple of. They need a second edge rusher bad. They need to fill that spot bad, but. This is a Super Bowl caliber team. There's always a team, the 49ers last year. I would even say the Rams. Obviously, people thought they were good. No one thought the Rams 2 years ago were going to probably go to the Super Bowl, even after that tremendous run they had the year before. What I'm saying is there's always a team that, maybe wasn't projected to go there, but has the capabilities. The Colts have all the capability in the world. They have the capability to do it. But to do it, I think they need to get that second wide receiver. That's the most glaring thing to me. Pascal is not going to do it.
As they currently stand right now, before the draft happens and before anything else happens in free agency, if you got to pick one team to win the AFC South next year, as they currently stand, who would it be? Because for me, it's the Colts without even thinking about it.
I think it'd be the Titans still. And this is my reasoning. Tannehill signing was piss poor. But I don't think he's going to have such a steep drop-off that he can't win you games, especially if Derrick Henry. I don't think Derrick Henry's success is related to Jack Conklin being his right tackle. And I think Mike Vrabel has instilled this culture that it's irreplaceable. But the Colts are it's not the Titans, the Colts. It's maybe the Titans because they've been together longer. But then, you also, it's the Colts because Phillip Rivers is hungry to just finally win that one Super Bowl, and they have a great team. They won, 7 or 8 games with Jacoby Brissett last year? Still a good team. To be honest, I hate the DeForest Buckner for the 13th pick in the draft. I don't like it. I think defensive tackle, unless you're giving me Aaron Donald, I don't know that it's so valuable that I give away the 13th pick in the draft. But maybe he proves me wrong. Maybe he performs just as well as he did on the best defensive line in the NFL last year.
Well,
I don't know.
I think the argument against that would be that Derek Brown and Javon Kinlaw, they're going to go probably they would go in the top 13. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So that's the argument for that.
Guess,
it's like, I would, if you draft one in the top 7, then why wouldn't you? You could trade the 13th overall pick for a really good one too. You know
I guess
I mean?
if I were constructing, this is just off the top of my head. I haven't really thought about this, but Michael Pierce was a free agent. I would have tried to sign Michael Pierce because you're going to be playing against Derrick Henry twice a year, and Leonard Fournette twice a year, which you don't specifically build your team just to win 4 games. But Michael Pierce helping slow down Derrick Henry and Leonard Fournette, I think, would be huge. DeForest Buckner obviously is going to help you get to Tannehill on the play action and Deshaun Watson just running, haywire.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think at 13 you could have got so many players you could have filled so many different positions. But that's here or there. Maybe the player that they wanted they think could be there in this. Maybe they're, looking at Jordan Elliott that nobody's talking about. But what they did not do anything wrong. I'm just nitpicking. I obviously had them in my winners as well. I'm just, playing devil's advocate for them.
I like it.
I would use this time before we go to the losers to rep our sponsor, Bovada, but there's nothing to bet on because sports are canceled.
Yeah, but I don't think many people know about that. So maybe take a second to tell everybody because that's pretty cool.
Okay. So if you go to bovada.lv, you can gamble on sports when they're back. When you're going to have the itch for the NBA when he comes back.
Can't wait.
Or the NFL. But if you go to any of our social medias, there will be a link in there. I'm not going to include it in this because there's no point in depositing money right now. There's nothing to look forward to. So I don't think anybody will click on it. But we'll leave links in the podcast and stuff. And you go there and you can get a 50%. You can double your money by 150%. So maybe not double. What? Okay. John's going to put in $50. Bovada's going to say, hey, thank you for using the referral link. You get an extra $25. Now you'll have $75. A free $25 to go spend on sports betting. And it helps us out a ton. And I will put out a way more informative video on this when the time comes for sports betting. But yeah, stay tuned for that. So let's talk about losers. And
let's talk about losers.
Damn losers. I don't want to spend a ton of time on my list because my list was pretty much your list. So I'm going to run through mine real quick and give reason. Bengals, you way overpaid for Trey Waynes. I mean, that was probably the worst signing of all free agency.
That's a weird deal.
You somehow stole Alexander. I mean, that was a great deal. One of the better nickel cornerbacks in the NFL. Absolutely great deal. DJ Reader, one of the best nose tackles in the NFL, but you could have just signed Billings back to a 3-year deal worth half of that.
Yeah.
And you would have got the same amount of wins. You didn't do anything to help out your buddy Joe Burrow. I thought they lost. Spent a lot of money on worthlessness. The Vikings, you let every single person go worth note, and you somehow paid Kirk Cousins even more money than he already had. What the hell is going on there? And who's Kirk Cousins dating in that front office to get all this money? I don't understand it. The Broncos, you let Chris Harris Jr. go, but you trade for AJ Bouye to try to counteract that, but that's not the same thing. That's like selling your Nikes to get a pair of Walmart shoes, which Walmart shoes are still Walmart shoes nowadays. That's all my dress shoes are Walmart shoes. They look cool, they're cheap, they're stylish, but in the long haul, my Nikes will last longer. Chris Harris Jr. is better. That's whatever. And then you signed Melvin Gordon for what damn reason? You've got a 1,000-yard rusher 2 years in a row. That was a stupid signing. Very bad. Also, you shouldn't have franchise tagged Justin Simmons. I think he's going to have another great year, and he's just going to be worth even more money. That's just my 2 cents about it. And then the Cowboys, everyone, you might think it's because of someone they signed. The Cowboys are losers because you refuse to freaking sign Dak Prescott.
Yes.
I don't
Thank
know
you.
what
Thank you.
the
Thank you.
fudge is going on. I will leave a link to the description in the bio. Go read the article I wrote about Dak Prescott right now. Pause the podcast, pause the video. I don't care. Dak Prescott is a very good quarterback. And statistically, I would say the knock on Dak Prescott is Dink and Dak. That's the Dink and Dak.
That's not a real
Oh,
thing, though. I think
that
that's
is
BS.
so false. He throws the most yards per attempt of any player in their first, I don't remember the years, but he throws the most yards of any player in their first so many, I think maybe like 4 or 5 years in the NFL ever. History. That's not dunking it. That's not a dink and dunk. He throws the ball. He wins games. Like, don't give me the Zeke Elliott as a running back. Don't give me the best offensive line and whatever. A lot of quarterbacks have had a really good running back and a really good offensive line and have not won games. You could have signed him for pennies on the dollar when he started winning you games, but you're like, well, we got him for really cheap, so we might as well. Like, that's just bad management. That's like if Baker Mayfield has a good year this year and the Browns decide to not sign him to an extension, I think it would be a really poor decision because, hey, what if he gets even better in year 4 and then, oh shit, now we're paying him Russell Wilson money? Or like what they did to Russell Wilson. Just wait and wait and wait and wait. Like, do what the Vikings are doing with Kirk Cousins, but do it with actually good quarterbacks. Yeah. Sorry, that was me. Kirk Cousins is a quarterback. Do it with great quarterbacks, I should say.
But that's the point. Yeah, he's good. He's mediocre. He's not. You know what I mean? Like he's above average. He's not like a world beater. So, but exactly. in the free agency tracker article that I've been writing, and I do apologize. I had a pretty bad stomach bug over the weekend, so I really didn't get any updating done. So I definitely need to get back into that. But yeah, timeout or stay away.
Stay away. Corona.
I was like, you only have 2 timeouts left. You sure you want to use one? That's a really dumb call right now. Okay. That's fine. I'll let you use it. All right. So, but anyways, that's the only thing. The one thing I wrote about the Amari Cooper signing, I was like, look, I don't have anything really negative to say about this. Why can't they find the money to pay Dak? Like, they have paid everybody on that team except for a quarterback, and they lucked into finding him. I mean, first of all, the Raiders wanted to take him, and Dallas ended up taking him before that, so the Raiders ended up with Connor Cook. They were like, well, we like Dak slightly better than Cook, but the Cowboys took Prescott, so they were like, all right, well, I guess we'll just take Connor Cook. That's how close you can be between Dak Prescott and Connor Cook. You see the way the 2 franchises have gone since then. It's not an accident. Second of all, with regards to like and then if Tony Romo doesn't get hurt, Dak doesn't even play right away. You don't even know what you have. It was because of an injury.
Yeah, and why are you locking down Amari Cooper if you're not going to have a quarterback for the future? There's no point in having a $20 million a year receiver with no quarterback.
Yeah.
You will never, ever, ever, as a franchise, get back-to-back 3rd, 4th, 5th round quarterbacks that can just become a top 10 quarterback. Like, it just doesn't happen.
It's insane.
It does not happen. You're not going to have it happen again. Sign Dak Prescott. Yeah, even though you're screwed now, you've backed yourself up against the wall. Sign him. I don't care if he's the highest paid quarterback in the league. The market will reset. The cap will increase with the new collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah.
Sign him. Just sign him. Quarterback is the most important piece in any sport ever. Sign him. I keep looking over here like this is where the camera's up here. I apologize. It's
all right.
But yeah. So that's my losers. We'll stay in Texas, John, and talk about your first team on the list of losers because by God, they have just done awful.
Simple. Yeah, Houston again. I just don't. I really mean this when I say this. Like, we need a documentary. We need behind the scenes. We need phones bugged. We need flies on walls. I don't care what, but I gotta find out the story. Like.
But he leaked this information.
Even if it's like a Being John Malkovich situation where someone actually goes inside Bill O'Brien's head and lives there for like a week, if they could rummage around in that vast empty space and just figure out pluck out where did the idea start? Like, what misfired synapse did that idea start with, where it was like, you know what would make us better? Less DeAndre Hopkins. That guy has been holding us back. I mean, we did blow one of the biggest playoff leads in history against the eventual Super Bowl champs, and that pretty much was DeAndre Hopkins' fault. He is directly responsible for that. If I had an extra second-round pick and I had David Johnson, we probably win that game. Let's be honest. So I really can't. I just don't even know what the hell is happening. And if I were Deshaun Watson, I would have walked right into the owner's office that second and said, I will play out this contract, but I'm not going to be here a second longer until this guy is gone, because
trade me.
The weird part about it is he seems to be a fine coach. Like, they have had success. They made the playoffs. I think it's won the division 4 out of the last 6 years. So it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. And every time they get to the postseason, they're starting, TJ Yates and these other quarterbacks. Like, their quarterbacks they're always hurt. So he's having to try to win playoff games with second and third string quarterbacks. So I don't even think he's that terrible of a coach. But my God, why this guy cannot? Maybe nobody can be the coach and the GM. Maybe it's just not possible. Maybe it's too much. Let someone else do this, because he is not good at it. And I don't know why no one stopped him so far. Like, that's insane that they traded him for that. That's unbelievable. In the prime of his career, 28 years old, and you're like, nah, we don't need him. Get him off this team. It's unbelievable. But yeah, Houston, huge loser for that reason. My second team was Tennessee. And
Whoa. I want to bash on Bill O'Brien, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm here for all the Bill O'Brien bashing.
I do not understand why you trade a top 5 receiver in the NFL when you have a top 5 quarterback in the NFL for a second-round pick, which statistically basically means nothing. Statistically, a second-round pick is almost worthless. I mean, obviously, you're going to get good second-round picks. You get good undrafted free agents. Chris frickin' Harris Jr., for God's sake. But a second-round pick is the furthest thing from a surefire situation. Like, I just do not understand it.
The whole draft but yes, you're right. That's a good point.
Like, especially with your GM being Bill O'Brien, it's basically worthless. It's almost worthless.
So it's worse in his hands. Right. He's turning, instead of the, what's called the golden touch, he's got like the, just turns everything to shit. If he touches the second-round pick, it's going to just disintegrate in your hands.
He's got the Charmin touch.
Right.
Charmin touch.
There you go.
Anyway, so if this trade went through, first of all, Bill O'Brien deserves to be incarcerated, put in prison. But this is my new favorite obsession, is figuring out how to get Deshaun Watson to the New England Patriots. So then I can become a Patriots fan. But
why would you want to do that?
Because I like winners. And if Deshaun Watson, for God's sake, is on the Patriots and Bill Belichick stays there, I'm guaranteeing another 4 rings. But anyway.
Oh, hold on. Stop. Timeout. I'm using one of my timeouts now. You can be a Browns fan, which you are, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can still appreciate I can watch the Patriots when they were winning games with Tom Brady and appreciate really good football, appreciate Bill Belichick, right?
Absolutely.
You don't have to be a fan. Like you're a fan.
I am a fan of them.
You're a fan of one team. That's it.
No. So here's the thing. With college sports, I'm not a fan of any team. With the NFL, I am so loyal to my teams to a fault, obviously. I'm a Cleveland fan.
Right.
But over these last few months, I've just been like, why not be fans of good things? So I obviously No. You have to listen to my thing of fan. I'm not out here buying merchandise. I'm not out here hoping they beat my team. It's just like, I can be a fan of what the Patriots have built. They've built a good team. It's just like why I think it's dynasties. Like, towards the end of it, I was just like, I really appreciate what the Warriors have done. Like, it's actually really impressive. Before KD especially, but even after KD, like, to manage all those talents is one thing. The Miami Heat, when they had those superstars, like,
oh my God.
No, listen. And then my favorite of all time.
You think it's impressive to add 2 of the best players in basketball to your team? You think that's impressive?
And make it work? 4 years in a row.
What?
But only get bested by the best dynasty in all of sports history, the San Antonio Spurs. Like, yes, I think those things are fun. I root for those things. I don't know why in the hell people are like, oh, God damn it, I hate the Patriots. God damn it, I hate the Warriors. Well, it's like, if the Warriors and the Patriots weren't around these last, 5 years, what is there to watch? Watching mediocre, but like, okay, your team got there, but it was mediocre show. Like the Super Bowl this past year, I wasn't even locked in. I was just like, okay, so it's a mediocre quarterback versus the greatest quarterback in the NFL right now. Like it's not even fun. Watching.
I had a lot of fun with that Super Bowl.
The last year, especially
Niners?
watching the Chiefs versus the Patriots, that was the best football game I've ever watched in my entire life. The AFC Championship game.
Did you like the Patriots-Rams Super Bowl?
I did.
I thought it was 7-3 fest where you're like.
It was really stale game for the classic fan, like for the not classic fan, for the just fan tuning in because it's a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I thought the way that a very outmatched Patriots roster was able to just like, hey, dude, I've been here 6 times. I mean, I've won 6 of these. I back off. I won 5 of these at that point.
Yeah.
Just I've got this. I thought that I think it's super interesting to watch Bill Belichick work and how he's able to just even work the trade market, the free agency market, whatever it is.
That stuff I love, absolutely. And I'm not saying I'm just saying I think if you use the word appreciate instead of fan, I think that's your statement. That's what you're saying. Because you're not really a fan. You don't root for the team. Like you're not a fan of that team. You just appreciate what they do.
Especially since I've been podcasting. Like I am a fan of that. Like I want teams to be I like talking points are fun. Watching great sports is fun. That's why when the Warriors are good again next year, yeah, sorry for those of you listening that thinks the Warriors dynasty over. It's far from over. You still have the best shooting backcourt in NBA history coming back next year with the first overall pick, which they could trade for even more leverage. But that's story for another time. I'm a fan of these things. I'm not a fan personally of what the Patriots do. If they win the Super Bowl, it's really cool. If they lose the Super Bowl, I sleep fine the next night. The Browns lose week 7. I'm pissed off. I'm shaking the entire night. It's like stupid. But so I'm loyal to a fault, but I am a fan of these things. So, John.
Yes, sir.
Bring. Oh. You're Bill Bryan. I'm calling you right now.
Hold on. Let me get my stupid voice on. Hold on. Hello.
Hey, what's up, Bill? It's the better Bill.
Hey, Bill. How are you?
I saw that you got rid of the best, maybe second best wide receiver in the NFL the past 2 years for a couple pennies.
He was really holding us back. We had to get rid of him.
This is not planned, by the way. So we over here have a plethora of draft picks. They're not very high picks. They're mostly 6th and 7th rounders, but with that and 3rd rounders, which I know you like to make draft picks because you're the GM, coach, and everything in between, I guess.
I do both. I do both things. I'm that guy. I do both things. I sure do. Yep.
Hey, Bill, can you put your dad on the phone? No.
Yeah.
But, okay. So
he needs to give consent.
We like Deshaun Watson. We lost Tom Brady. So here's what I'm willing to offer you.
Okay.
Are you listening?
Yes.
I'm willing to offer you our 1st round pick this year, 2 of our 3rd round picks of our 3, 2 6th and a 7th. At this point, I'm just trying to drown him in draft picks. And then next year's 1st round pick as well for Deshaun Watson. So you're getting 2 1st rounders, you're getting 2 3rd rounders, you're getting 2 6th rounders, and you're getting a 7th round pick. That's a lot of picks, Bill. But now, John, think about this objectively. As I know he's not that smart of a guy, but is that something that you think Bill would actually, seeing his past moves, I don't see why that almost wouldn't be like a starting point to a conversation. But okay, maybe add in a 4th or something. I'm not that stupid. Good, Bill. But I think that is something.
Do you have any aging running backs that you are thinking of cutting? Because that's kind of my jam. What do you got for me? Hey, if Sonny Michel's medicals are terrible, I'll take him. I'll take him. Put him on the. Does he have only one MCL in his body? Put him on the bus. Let's get him to Houston. I can't wait to get him. That's going to be great. Fantastic. We can have him. I traded a third-round pick for Duke Johnson last year, but I didn't ever use him because I don't like him. So, but I wanted to trade a pick for him, but I don't want to use him because that's what I do.
Aside from Bill O'Brien being an absolute asshead,
yeah.
What do you really think it would take for the Patriots to start a real conversation about trading for Deshaun Watson? Because you have to also think the Patriots at some point are going to be like, dude, we'll just wait 2 years and get him on the open market. We're the Patriots.
I mean, yeah. Well, first of all, that's definitely in play as long as Belichick's going to stick around and coach. And then second of all,
if not, sorry, I'm not meaning to interrupt you because I was thinking that same thing, but I was like, oh, they've got McDaniels like sitting shotgun ready to take over.
Yeah, but, that could be too. No, that's a good point. He could walk into that role, and it might be, you'd think, well, that things are going to be somewhat similar. You'd like to think from at least an offensive standpoint. I mean, the rest of how Belichick organizes everything and is so meticulous. I mean, that you probably lose that just because, no one's Belichick, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Look, to be honest with you, and I know, look, I used a silly, stupid voice to make fun of Bill O'Brien, and he's an educated person, and I don't mean to attack anybody's character. I'm certainly not, trying to be, I'm just trying to be funny and silly and stupid about it. But the bottom line is, if you traded a second-round pick for, he traded Hopkins for a crappy running back in a second-round pick, why not? I would call him up too and be like, hey, well, we'll give you a first and a sixth for Watson. I mean, he's probably going to say yes. He said yes to other things that are ridiculous, so why not lowball it? You might as well. I mean, the worst he can say is no, and then, which I don't even know if he knows how to say at this point. But if he does, then, you come back over the top with a couple other offers and try to get him if you want. But, yeah, if not, I guess just wait till free agency comes around, man. I don't know. He is just awful, 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 awful. So,
yeah, I completely agree. He's just been – it's bad. And please get Deshaun Watson out of there before it's too late. And then a quarterback who's on the flip side of that, who thinks he's in a good situation. The Titans, you have them as a loser. I think we already kind of hit on this one, so I'm just going to give my 2 cents and you give what you think.
Okay.
I think it's a bad deal. He's definitely going to regress. There's no way he gets better from here. Derrick Henry being franchise tag was actually good. They shouldn't sign him after the franchise tag. He's going to start going downhill fast. He's a big guy. He gets a lot. He's had so many snaps. You look at his high school snap count, and it's ridiculous. Like 1,000 rushes a year in high school. They lost their right tackle. They way overpaid a mediocre quarterback. I don't like what the Titans did. And you lose Jarrell Casey.
So one of the issues with the NFL in general is that it's so easy to get stuck in quarterback purgatory because if you have a guy that's remotely competent and you are a team that's even in the middle of the draft, right? If you're like the, 16, 17, 18, 20 and up basically, right? In that range, like you can't change your team quarterback wise in a heartbeat the following season. Not without getting like super lucky, right? Like drafting Dak in the 4th round and Tony Romo gets hurt and suddenly you've got a good starter and you didn't even really know that that's what you had. Okay. That stuff happens, of course, but no one's planning for that. And so, if you're looking at, Tennessee, it's just like, I understand first of all, you have Tannehill and you have Derrick Henry and you got to sign one and tag the other. They did the right thing there. Okay. If they had tagged Tannehill and signed Henry to a longer deal, you'd be like, what are you doing? Like, this is a disaster. Don't, Tannehill might not, if he's as good as you think he is, he's not replaceable, obviously. But Derrick Henry clearly is. So,
yeah.
Regardless of how good or bad, whatever, he might be. So in that aspect, that's fine. But Ryan Tannehill is 31 years old. Okay. He's been in the NFL. He's drafted in 2012. And he lost the year to injury with the torn ACL. So, excuse me. So this last year, he was phenomenal. But before that, he was dreadful. And I understand that, the offensive situations were very different, and Adam Gase was his coach for a minute, and, there are a lot of reasons. I'm not saying that, he had the best situation in Miami any one of those years, okay? There are definitely reasons. But, do we really expect him to just continue being this guy? They signed him they're like, oh, good. The last 6 years don't count for anything. I just have this small 12-game sample size that I'm going to go with, and that's it. And I'm just going to disregard his entire career. That's baffling to me. But again, like I said, I guess I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have put him in the losers list because I don't know what you do. You can't walk away from that. If you let that guy walk, what are you going to do? Now, maybe you didn't know Cam Newton was available, and maybe you could figure out that. But, I mean, that aside from something weird like that happening where it's perfect timing, typically if you have a quarterback that just, you went to the AFC Championship game and you lost, and that guy, is you got to figure out that guy's contract. You're typically not letting him walk. I get it. I understand that. So, but I just don't. First of all, the deal is ridiculous. They paid him way too much money. And second of all, if he ends up being regular Ryan Tannehill next year, no one will be surprised. No one, least of all me. And so that's the only reason I put him in the losers list. Maybe that's a little harsh because, like I said, you can't, you're stuck. You can't let that guy walk. But still, I just think they overpaid. And if you're expecting this year to happen every year, you're insane.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that you said. I think they are losers for that reason. And you can't overpay a bad quarterback. Even if you're going to be stuck in purgatory, I think it's almost better to just draft 2 quarterbacks. I am in the boat that I think the Dolphins should definitely draft 2 quarterbacks in the first round. I know that's ridiculous. What if Tua is there at 5? He's for sure going to be an NFL quarterback. We don't know that. We've seen tons of great quarterbacks that don't translate to the NFL.
Well, but did you see the video that got tweeted out today?
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah, he's going to go number 3. Someone is trading up to 3 with Detroit to get him for sure.
Yeah, sure. So if you're the Dolphins, I take best player available at 5. If there's not a player worth taking at 5 that's not a quarterback, I trade back. Someone's going to be stupid enough to trade up to 5. You have you have a teen pick, and then you have 220 overalls. Take a quarterback then. We'll talk about that on our draft show. But live draft show. Okay, so try to do it in 2.5 minutes. Why the Falcons and the Bears are losers. Ooh, let's see if you can do it.
Awesome. I'm going to do it I'll do it in 1:20. You ready?
Yep, go.
Okay. So Atlanta's simple. I don't understand why you would let Austin Hooper walk and then trade away a second-round pick to get what's his name, Hurst.
But Hayden Hurst was a first-round pick. I mean.
Yeah, I know he sure was. So, but
former first-round pick Hayden Hurst being traded. Shut the hell up.
He's older than than Hooper. First of all, second of all, Hooper is better. Hooper's had 3 better years than Hurst ever has. I said 2 last week, but it's 3. I looked it up afterwards and was like, shit, I missed a year. So, I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. And I get it. The Gurley deal is fine. I think it's reasonable. It makes sense. They had a need. Can you imagine if they had kept, if it's Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, they have Calvin Ridley, who's, largely been very good as rookie and sophomore year, and then you retain Austin Hooper and add Todd Gurley to that offense? That's a nice offense. That's very good. A little scary.
I thought the Todd Gurley signing was one of the best of free agency.
I think it made a lot of sense from a money standpoint and a need standpoint. I think it was
1 year. You're not stuck to those knees.
Beautiful. And Tampa Bay is in need of a running back, and he didn't go there, which I think is a smart move. If you're gonna, you're competing against your own division, obviously. So keep a guy, get a guy, and don't let him go to the other team either. That's great. So, so that's all. Just the Hooper thing was weird, and then Chicago. Oh my God, Ryan Pace is the hold my beer of GMs. When he sees Bill O'Brien do something, he's just like, hold my beer. Watch this. Here we go. Hey, Jimmy Graham, how you doing, man? How you doing? I know you slowed down. You're 33. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. We're going to give you it's $10 million or $8 million guaranteed, $11 million guaranteed, and $8 million for the next 2 years. What?
Almost you think Jimmy Graham? You think the size? You think the catching? You think the jumping ability?
Yeah, Now you think, yeah. Talk about Jimmy Graham. Talk about the injuries. Talk about how slow he is. Talk about how he hasn't done anything in a few years.
Talk about he played with Aaron Rodgers, so maybe he can make Mitchell Trubisky Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my God! Even when he got to Seattle, I mean, ever since he left the Saints, I mean, that was just a disaster. But anyways, yeah, I just like basically everything they've done has just been head scratching. If you realize the second you realize Mitch Trubisky isn't very good, I'm sorry, but the answer to how to fix that situation is not Nick Foles. Like, and I get it. It's a slight step up. I get it. Okay. And Nick Foles has from Trubisky, it is. And I'm sorry, but that's a fact. Like, Foles is better than Trubisky. So, and just from a straight, we need better players on the roster. Okay, sure. I get it. That makes sense. But like, how many mediocre quarterbacks do you need on one roster? Like Oakland or Las Vegas, is the only other team that's going like, hey, we got a couple of mediocre guys. Like, don't count us out. We're in the mediocre quarterback game. Like, but otherwise, I don't get it. Chicago is just baffling. Just one ridiculous deal after another. So not a huge fan, but yeah. And then I should have put them on the list. I didn't, but honorary mention, just because they're on the list every year, is Jacksonville. Every year I'm just like, I don't even. There's not a plan. There can't be a plan. It's just it's the wheel in the GM's room. It just spins the wheel, and whoever it lands on, we gotta get rid of Yannick Ngakoue. Sorry, it's just okay. We're trading AJ Boye. Sorry,
Calais Campbell.
Doesn't matter. Yep. Oops. Oh,
can we get a 5th round pick for Calais Campbell, please, Baltimore?
Baltimore's like, hey.
I was prepared to offer you a second and a future 3rd. Okay.
Yeah. No, that sounds. Yeah, that's fair. That's what we were thinking too. That sounds good. So
honestly, obviously Khalil Mack at his age and talent is better than Calais Campbell when he was traded to the Bears. But if you look at that pick, the Jaguars should have absolutely taken nothing less than a future first. Like, even the next year's 1st round pick. Calais Campbell is worth that as a player. It's just bad teams do bad things. Like, if the Bears somehow, the Raiders somehow got all of that for Khalil Mack and you trade away a 5th, you get a 5th.
Yeah.
It shows who is competent in the NFL and who's not.
I know. It's bonkers. So, but yeah.
Speaking of incompetence, John, I liked your reasonings for those teams. We're gonna get to the fan questions.
Yes, excellent.
This is our most mailbag questions we've had since free agency. So thank you all. We're gonna give you guys shout outs. Sports Fanatic at ATIC_sports Attic Sports. How does the Trent Williams saga with the Redskins end? I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. I think he's traded. I do not think it's to the Browns anymore. Maybe, I don't know. I think he's traded for a middle round pick. He's not worth much anymore. The longer they've waited, the less he's been worth because everyone's like, well, we know he's gone soon. We're not going to give away our souls for him. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Like, he's not going to play there again. You have to get something for him eventually. He sat out last year. We heard lots of reports about especially in Cleveland, because the Browns needed a tackle, and we kept hearing that, the Dorsey was willing to pay, but the Redskins were saying, they wanted more and a 1st round pick at least, and and stuff like that. And teams balked and they called the bluff, and so Washington got nothing out of it. You sat on, a player that you couldn't use because he wouldn't play for you, and now you got no picks for it. So you got to do something at some point. And I don't know. It seems like a 3rd round pick probably would get it done. So, we've already mentioned a few teams tonight that should probably be on the phone with Washington going, hey, the Chargers would be one if they could fix that spot in a hurry, at least for a couple years. Again, he's over 30, but he's not washed up. He's not 38 like Jason Peters is. Like, he's got some playing days ahead of him, that's for sure. So, but he's definitely going to be traded. I would be shocked if anything else happened.
I agree. So, next one from Norman Kujawa. If I'm wrong, tweet me. I want to get this right, Norman. But his @ is capital NJK, lowercase UJAWA 3, Browns related. Do you think they try to add another linebacker, or is this a mid-round pick? And then also NFL related, who overpays for Clowney? I freaking love the way you worded that, Norman. Music to my ears. Overpay.
That's
Do you
funny.
think Eric Reed will be blackballed again? Once again, like the way you worded that, or will someone pick him up? So I'm gonna make this quick. I do not think the Browns add another linebacker they very well might add another linebacker. No one of significant value.
So just to be clear, he means will they add one in free agency or just wait for the draft, correct?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I want to make sure I understood it. That's all.
Okay, yeah. I do not think if they add one in free agency, it won't even make that big of a splash. It won't be even as big as Goodson, who, is just going to be a first, second down guy. I think the mid-round pick is where you're looking. I also, for some reason, the way they attacked the linebacker free agency, Joe Schobert, letting Kirksey go without trying to restructure him, I honestly think they have faith in Wilson and Taki. In short bursts, Taki, especially if you look at analytics, which is what this free agent front office looks at. And analytics is football. You're not an analytics guy or a football guy. If you're an analytics guy, it's because you're watching the film.
One of the
yeah. Well, football guys they're not analytic guys. But analytic guys are football guys, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I shouldn't say that either. There's Dave Gettleman and John Dorsey's, then there's people that are just football people, which are analytic. Anyway, this analytic front office, quotation marks if you're watching the YouTube video, they're watching Taki and looking at his data. In short bursts, he's shown that he's very good. And in college, he was very good. He had a very similar career path to Joe Schobert so far. Mack Wilson, a Cleveland favorite, a really good dude, hasn't performed super well. I'm not saying he won't. He's very young. He is a very young player. I'm not saying that this is not the linebacker duo that can make it work. I think they'll try to add another guy. But, if you're talking about can a player get better, Mack Wilson has all those attributes. And it's not – Brendan talked about black holes on the roster last year, how you can't have black holes on the roster on the last podcast. Last year, Mack Wilson was a black hole. But I think part of that was his age, and I do think his work ethic will make him not a black hole. I think that this linebacker duo is what the Browns are going to try to work with because linebackers – I'm not going to say they aren't essential, but stopping the run in the NFL doesn't mean anything anymore. And if you want to stop the pass, play 2 linebackers at most. It's that simple. Yeah. So I don't think they're going to attack it heavily. If a linebacker falls to them that they like, I think they'll go after it. But I think they're going to draft big safeties that can move. I think that's the way to go in the NFL nowadays. Draft big safeties that can move. Try to get it done that way. Get a Xavier McKinney that can play 3 different positions. And then Clowney. Actually, I'll let you answer the Browns thing, John.
No, that was. I agree. I think you're right. If they sign with someone else in free agency, it'd probably be a guy you have to look up and go, who is this? I'm not. At this point, the guys that are left, there's not. I don't want to say they're not great players, but they're available for a reason. Let's put it that way. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see them take a linebacker in the draft. And I think you actually nailed it, Norman. If they do, it's going to be a mid-round pick for sure. I don't think you're going to see them spend – well, they're definitely not spending 10, obviously, on a linebacker. I'd be shocked if 41 was a linebacker. Very shocked. So after that, yeah, maybe if you find a guy that, they have a third-round grade on, slips to the 4th or 5th or something like that. What's the round they don't have a pick in? Is that the 5th? Right? 5th. It's 1, 2, 2 3s, 4, 6, 7, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe it's the 6th round is a good spot where, if you have a guy that you would have taken in the 5th round if you had a pick, but you don't, and you see that guy slip to that point. So, but yeah, other than that, no, I don't. Mack Wilson, the only thing I'll add to that is that Wilson it's the reason that he was available where he was. Sometimes he's really good, and other times he looks completely lost. And that was the same thing in Alabama. He showed up on tape, and then he didn't. And you were just like, okay, this guy needs to learn, some kind of he needs to learn. He needs to be coached up at some point. So hopefully that'll happen this year with Joe Woods, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, luckily Mac Wilson has shown the ability to cover, in spurts, so that's good. If a guy can cover, he can cover. If a guy can't, that's not really a lot of that's natural ability. Obviously, coaching plays a huge dividend in that. Then NFL related, who pays for Clowney? I don't know who it's gonna be, but so I don't want to make any guesses. But I will say this about Clowney: for any of you that think the Browns should sign him, that's listening, for any of you that thinks your team should sign him, you're not getting a pass rusher, which is what is valued in today's league. He is not a good pass rusher for the amount of money he's going to be given. He's a run stopper. I personally am not going to go out of my way to sign a run stopper in free agency if it's going to be worth more than, if it's going to be what he's like wanting. I just don't like Clowney. I don't like his game. He had a big hit in college against Michigan, so every Ohio guy loves him. Eric Reed, I don't think he'll be blackballed. It's got to stop. If you're standing up for what you believe in, that should not mean that you're not employable. It's ridiculous. Get the hell over it. Someone sign Eric Reed. He's good enough to play in the league. I won't get into the other guy, but he's good enough to play in the league as well. Not as a starter at this point, but
he was just Reed was just on a team, so it's not beyond reason that he won't end up on one again. So I would say no. I don't think that he would be blackballed again. Where he'll end up, that's a great question. I'm not really sure. As far as Clowney goes, I don't know, man. This kind of feels like the situation where the guy, it's like the sort of like the couple that's sort of like they're both like, let's say they're both like 6', right? And they're both like, I could totally date like a 9, and they both like go out there for a little while, and then you sort of realize you're just like, yeah, look, you're both 6s. You probably should just stay together. Like, I feel like Clowney's going to end up back in Seattle. Like, they're both going to be like, yeah, well, we don't need you then. We're fine. We got plenty of dudes. And Clowney's like, yeah, look, I'm going to go get paid, so I don't really need you. And then they kind of get back together, and they're like, yeah, so that didn't really work out for either of us. Do you want to just, like, hang out and, like, do stuff? And, yeah, okay, that sounds like fun. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so that's my take on Clowney. That's what I think is going to happen with him. So
I like it.
Any other backup places? I was trying to think about this, like where else he could end up, and I don't even know. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I was trying to come up with a second, like maybe a backup signing place for Clowney, but I'm not really sure. So I don't even want to speculate. So.
Before we get to the next listener question, because we have to wrap this up, but the biggest power move in the history of history was just made by Clippers owner Steve Ballmer.
Ooh.
He bought the Forum for $400 million cash. So
for the Forum.
I'll read what happened. The Forum will continue to operate as a live music venue. It's not going to be where the Clippers play. But the purchase by the Clippers will resolve the federal lawsuits the Clippers were going to have if they built a new arena in the same city as the Forum. So he bought a $400 million venue so he wasn't involved in lawsuits to build a venue that's going to cost more than $400 million, probably.
Way more.
That's called a power move.
Yeah, it's going to cost way more than that. So, yeah. Absolutely.
Also, subject for another time, but like the rich get richer. It's got to change.
Let's mention real fast. So I just saw this too. I was trying to read through the questions, and I saw that Norman had added. He said with Clowney, I could also see him getting paid from a team like Arizona, even on a short team deal. And that's a really good suggestion because they definitely need defense and they have cap room. So that wouldn't be surprising, and that might even be a better scenario than ending back up in Seattle because that
you would honestly
use one there.
Eric Reed could help out the Cardinals as well.
Actually, that anybody on defense could for sure. So, but yeah. Absolutely.
And then, the last question is from Chris Howell. I know him from Van Wert. What's up, Chris? His @ is @CHOWELL 314. Go give him a follow. Name a few free agents you would like to still see the Browns grab. That I don't know.
I was just going to say, no, that's okay. Giovanni Ruiz also asked the exact same question, so I wanted to make sure that we got his in there too. He said, do you have any other free agents you want the Browns to sign, both realistic and perfect world options? Thanks.
Oh, because Gio asked first. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, his is at GIOR73.
Give him a follow. Ruiz. Give him a follow, folks.
I was wondering. I was. Anyway.
But yeah. So any other free agents for what's called the Browns to sign?
So I'm gonna say there's a handful. Tackles. Yeah, I would still like Jason Peters. It's a Band-Aid, 1 or 2 year deal. Don't make a rookie start. If he doesn't work, he's going to work out. He's still a good tackle. I want Jason Peters, and I'm going to die on that hill, especially for the people saying I want Trent Williams over Jason Peters. I think that's kind of crazy because you're going to have to pay Trent Williams big money soon. And you're going to have to give up a draft pick. I don't know. Jason Peters is good. It would be a nice veteran presence for Jack Conklin. It would be a nice veteran presence for Teller and Forbes. And then the tackle they most likely draft. 2 receivers I really like. Josh Gordon, Rashard Higgins. They're not testing for weed anymore in the NFL. Meaning, if you were in a fantasy league, go get Josh Gordon ASAP. You know, if you're in a league where you can just pick up player, doubtful that you can do that. But Josh Gordon.
Dynasty league, sure. Right now you can.
Yeah. If Josh Gordon plays in the NFL, which I don't see why. I mean, John, if you're a GM and you're okay, this guy's not. He only has ever gotten busted for having weed in his system. They're not going to test it anymore. Why the hell would you not give him an option? Give him a shot, right?
I don't know. The reason I would. Do you remember what year he led the NFL in receiving?
Yeah.
What year was that?
2014.
13. It
13.
was the year before Johnny Manziel.
So you're going to tell me because he was last time he was great was 2013. You wouldn't say, "Hey, freak of nature, take this $1 million, take this 1 year deal, and come play for us."
What? I don't. No,
I don't. Think about his deals in the past. You're not going to be paying this guy $20 million a year. It's going to be $5 million a year.
I got Juice. I got OBJ. I want Rashard Higgins back, so that's a good point. I want him back for sure. So let's sign him because he's.
Call me crazy, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I'd rather have Josh Gordon over Rashard Higgins. Rashard Higgins is the safer option, but Josh Gordon his ceiling is still higher than Rashard Higgins ever is. I love Rashard Higgins. I mean, an absolute fan favorite, but he is what he is at this point.
Okay, I understand they're not testing for weed anymore, but I just don't. I don't know. This guy was good. It's 7 years ago. 7 years in the NFL.
Did you watch him last year?
Okay, but
he can still play.
Kind of. He can kind of still play. Yes. He can be the 5th receiver on the team. I guess he'll catch 12 balls for go back. Go pull up the fantasy running back leaders from the year 2013 and read through the list and it will be
that's not fair.
Shocking.
That's apples and oranges. Running backs are 8 and shit out 10 minutes later.
What I'm saying is 7 years ago in the NFL is a long time. Dog ears are looking at that going, wow, that is a long time. It's unbelievable.
John, I'm gonna backfire you with this. 7 years ago, in the NFL, Jason Peters was still a left tackle. Phillip Rivers was still a quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger was still a quarterback. Tom Brady was still a quarterback. I don't know. So
no, you're right.
Maybe Josh Gordon will play until he's 45 because quarterback takes as much athleticism as wide receiver.
Well,
no, I understand you.
Ben Roethlisberger's still a quarterback, so of course Josh Gordon's going to have 1,800 yards this year. Of course. That makes sense.
And I understand your reasoning why you'd be scared, but I think anyone would be crazy to say, don't give me Josh Gordon on a 1 year, $5 million deal. I think you would have to be tested for drugs much stronger than marijuana.
For the right team, sure, why not? Green Bay could use a second receiver. They don't even know. Alan Lazard might be the guy, but Geronimo Allison sure is shit isn't, and neither is Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So, I mean,
I don't know if that's the right place for him, actually, because Aaron Rodgers is an absolute jackass, and Josh Gordon doesn't seem super mentally stable, but I like what you're saying.
But yeah,
so
I get it.
Defensive players I would like.
How about, can we start with Nico
There's not
Roby?
Oh, I mean, obviously, I'm going to get to him, but that's because he should be the, like, just easy. He's not even on this free agent list for whatever reason. I know he wasn't signed. Anyway, edge defenders. So, oh God, I should have started the show with this, and then we gotta. This is a 2-hour show. Holy shit.
The record.
I got in an argument with people on Twitter. Linebacker Clay Matthews to the Browns. I swear to any God you believe in, or don't believe in, whatever.
Okay.
If anyone ever tries to tell me Clay Matthews is a linebacker, I'll smack it out of you. He's not. Oh my gosh. But on the other hand, if you were able to get a team-friendly deal for a Clay Matthews, a Cameron Wake, a 1-year deal for those old guys,
Everson Griffin?
I would take. I'm not including him in that because I think he's worth more than a 1-year deal for sure. I think he's still very talented.
Yep.
But I think Clay Matthews and Cameron Wake, you could still get on a 1-year deal. Cameron Wake still got gas in the tank. Clay Matthews still has gas in the tank, and they're not the same player. But like Clay Matthews to Olivier Vernon, size-wise, play style, they're not super far off. Like Olivier Vernon's he's got a lot of quickness. He's able to get sideline to sideline, chase down the run real well. There's not a whole lot of. It wouldn't take a lot of. Vernon goes out, they have to play Clay Matthews. It wouldn't be like a whole new, learning process for those linemen on the line with him to know what Clay Matthews is going to do. They're not the same player, but you know what I mean. Like size-wise, their play style, they're not maulers. Cameron Wake, I don't know how he still is going, but whatever. And then the biggest one though is Nikhil.
Roby Coleman.
My head was just like it was gone. I read Prince.
Bringing it back, baby.
I read Prince Amu Kamara's name, and everything just went like, oh my God, because I was trying to pronounce it in my head. Anyway, yeah, I mean, the best nickel corner left, one of the better nickel corners in the NFL, can probably maybe snag him for $8 to $10 million. The way the nickel corner market has been, I would love that. Nickel corner is very essential. The Browns don't have one. They have 3 outside cornerbacks right now, and then Kevin Johnson.
I wonder if they think that Kevin Johnson is going to be that nickel corner. I wonder if that's why they haven't signed Roby Coleman or even gone after him, or if they just plan not to, period, because they think Kevin Johnson is going to be that guy. I'm curious.
Yeah. That's my list of guys. John, I'll let you touch on it.
No, I was going to say Roby Coleman's at the top of that list for sure, because I don't know that Kevin Johnson is a slot corner, and that's definitely a need for sure for every team in the NFL now. So Rashard Higgins needs to come back because that's one of the most baffling things about 2019, and the list of baffling things with the Browns in 2019 was long, but that's at the top of the list. How Higgins just couldn't get on the field ever. We can't use this guy. Ultra talented. They're running 11 personnel the entire freaking season, but they can't figure out how to get him on the field. That's a problem. So, not a big fan of that. But yeah, I'd love to get him back. And then after that, I don't know. I was flipping through. I mean, Cameron Wake makes sense. If you could get Everson Griffin on a good deal, that would make sense. Logan Ryan would make sense if you didn't get Roby Coleman. Yeah, that's probably it. I don't know. I didn't really see anybody else. Peters, you mentioned Peters. That's a good call. So, yeah. Let's see. I wanted to mention one other guy who replied back. So we were talking about the let's see. This was off of Norman's question when he said
Bodacious.
Yeah, I wanted to. So Bodacious, it's at Bodacious Beer. And this guy, he replies a lot and stuff, and I know I follow him. I'm pretty sure he follows me too. But
John, I don't know. I'm gonna do some breaking news. I'm not sure if you know this, but Bodacious Beer is actually going to be part of our fantasy writing team.
Oh, did I know that, or did I not know that?
I don't know.
I don't think
he's
he
not
told
in
me
that chat yet.
Huh.
Yeah, sorry. Him and Paul are good Twitter buddies.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well,
yeah. Anyway,
then.
Sorry.
No, then welcome aboard, Bodacious Beer. Can't wait to have you as part of the team. This is really cool. So, yeah, but we were talking about when Norman asked what the Browns were going to do as far as linebacker goes. Bodacious Beer said Browns draft another linebacker, in my opinion, earlier in the draft. So I'll be curious. I wonder. Yeah, Bodacious, you'll have to tweet at us and let us know what do you think. Pick 41, maybe. I mean, you can't be 10 because I just can't imagine Patrick Queen would go there. And if Queen dropped to 41, they might be in for that. Or Kenneth, what's his name from Oklahoma, Murray.
You were right, Kenneth Murray.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I don't know why Ken sounded so weird, but yeah, maybe that's the case. So I wonder.
Kenneth sounds like some nerdy middle-aged white man.
It doesn't sound like someone whose poster you'd put up on your. Hey, I got Ken's poster. Oh my God, that's awesome.
And a poster of him knocking someone's soul out of their body too.
He was accountant of the year last year. I knew it. He's so good. He's so good with a calculator. But yeah, so yeah, I guess that'd be interesting. Bodacious, let us know if it's Patrick Queen or Murray at 41, if that's who you're thinking, or if maybe it's somebody different. But yeah, so okay, yeah, that's it. I just want to make sure we got all the listener questions in. So.
Yeah, the show went long, 2 hours and 6 minutes, but I think it was worth it. And since we're not able to do shows every day, I don't think it's bad to go a little longer.
No, and here's the thing, folks. Since nobody has anything to do and you can't leave your house anyways, just enjoy the 2 hour, distraction from all the crap that's going on, and talk about free agency and listen to us, drone on about all these players and yeah, good stuff. So what else are you gonna do? Right?
Yeah, and hopefully John and I are able to do a few more shows about, maybe not about free agency. I don't really know. We'll have to start talking about the draft, I guess.
Yep.
Leading up to it.
The prospects too.
Yep. And we'll have Brendan Leister on to talk about what the Browns should do in the draft at post free agency. Maybe we'll try to get another couple of media members from other teams on. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, with the merchandise, if you do want something, just let us know.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I'm all good, John. I have to pee really bad.
Okay, well
if you guys
then,
care.
Before you do that, you can follow me on Twitter at Cleveland Spider. It's Spider with a Y, SPYDER. And you can go to www.atbsports.net. And that's where you'll find our articles. I am writing a free agency tracker where I am covering all the free agency signings. I'm trying to write reactions to the bigger deals, trades, things like that, stuff that most people would want to know about. So yeah, so just my thoughts and opinions on the money, the contracts, the deals themselves, things like that. So yeah, check that out. Like I said, it hasn't been updated since Friday. I was sick over the weekend, so I got to get back on track. But I'll try to get that done as fast as I can. And then yeah, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and like the video if you did like it, and leave a comment if you liked it. If you didn't, if you think, hey, you guys should try this, or maybe do more of this or less of that, or whatever. It's very much, if you're watching, then it's your show as much as ours. So tell us what you think and what you want to see and what you want to see, more of and less of, and everything like that. Yeah, we'd love to hear your opinion and your thoughts. So definitely leave a comment.
I second all that. You can find all the things we talked about in the descriptions below. Yeah, thank you all so much.
Yep, thanks. Hey, stay safe, everybody. Wash your hands. Please take care, okay?
Yeah. Don't cough on people.
No.